Chapter 345, Full Moon Voyage, 2. I blinked my eyes. Are you saying you came here 300 years early? That's right, Junior. The person, with their face hidden under a hood, nodded their head slowly, bowing it repeatedly. Suddenly, I had become the junior, and they had become the senior, but I wasn't particularly bothered by that. What caught my attention more was what the hooded man said. Whether it's musical heaven or golden heaven, everyone who comes here forgets their previous life. The fact that he guessed I was a challenger means there's a high chance this person really is a hunter. Didn't the Wand of Ages say? Unless recognized by judgment, one would remain on the stage like a ghost forever. Perhaps the hooded man in front of me is a challenger who has failed to complete his quest for 300 years. I am a failure. The hooded man spoke haltingly. Trapped here, unable to go this way or that, just wasting my days away. It's fine for me to consider my life over, but Junior, I wish to prevent other challengers from ending up like me. How about it? The hooded man's voice rose. Won't you listen to my advice? My worthless life story. Even if it's just the ramblings of a failure, if it can help you. No. How can you say such a thing? I would be glad to listen to your story. Such a kind-hearted junior you are. Then, if you buy me just one apple orange, I would gladly help with your future. The hooded man curled his finger. A trade request has been made to you. Then a message came. Do you wish to purchase the product offered by the other party for one apple orange? It seemed very easy. I went to a street vendor and bought a fruit that was half apple and half orange mixed together. Half meant exactly 50:50. The left side was apple, and the right side was orange. What is this? Come on over. Oh, young man, you look quite handsome. The street vendor, thinking I was an easy sucker, greedily suggested 3 golds. It was a clear rip-off. But I had plenty of gold coins in my pocket. Thinking of it as an investment to hear the advice of a senior 300 years ahead, it didn't seem too wasteful. The haggling has ended. The other party is satisfied with this trade. You are satisfied with this trade. Both parties are satisfied with the trade. Simple. The eye living in the labyrinth carefully reveals that the fruit vendor treats you as a top sucker among suckers. I knew it but just wanted to get it over with quickly. Here it is, senior. Oh my, such a kind-hearted junior I have. I quickly handed over the apple orange to the hooded man. The hooded man took the fruit with trembling hands. The trade is completed. The haggling has ended. It was at that moment. Yahoo! The hooded man stood up abruptly. Then, as if his hands had never been trembling, he quickly took off his hood with a very hearty gesture. The sudden change was so abrupt that I instinctively stepped back. What? What is this? What do you mean what? I'm a fisherman from the port city of Laventa who has caught you hook, line, and sinker. Just by looking at your face, I could tell you were crying out easy sucker, so I cast a line, and lo and behold, a big catch. This delicious, in-season fruit is mine to enjoy, young man. The hooded man, now hoodless, gobbled up the apple orange greedily. Ah! It tastes like honey. The joy of exploiting the kind and innocent, isn't this the real gourmet of the sea and mountains? I was dumbfounded. Wait a minute. You said you were a challenger. How could you pull off this challenger and such act while being a local here? I have no idea what you're talking about. I just recited the repertoire of an easy sucker who was stripped bare by me a long time ago. Was it 300 years ago? Really, occasionally, kids who fall for such nonsense appear right where you're standing. This is insane. That's the expression I wanted to see. Overdramatic sound effects rang in my head, thud thud. The other party is very satisfied with this trade. You are very dissatisfied with this trade. You have suffered a loss. It was right after the message rang out. Huh? An enormous sense of hunger overwhelmed me. It was an ambush-like hunger that I had never experienced before, even though I had starved plenty while practicing the infernal heaven's demonic art. This was the first time hunger had struck me so suddenly. Wait. What in the world is this? Delicious. Opposite to me, the hooded man's face was shining brightly. I've eaten well. Don't be too disappointed, Junior. Thanks to me, you've gained a valuable lesson, haven't you? To think, I've taught you such a life lesson with just one apple orange. Oh dear, I'm too considerate for my own good. How am I to survive in this harsh world being born so kind? Hey! The expression on the hooded man's face had a devastating impact. Even I, who had become somewhat impervious to anger, felt a surge of fury upon seeing that face. You are even more dissatisfied with this trade. The other party gains even more satisfaction from this trade. You have suffered another loss. Soon, I realized that even this anger was being calculated by the other party. Oh, good. Great. Excellent. It's like having a premium two-legged pig steak melting in my mouth. A real gourmet spot, young man. You were a gourmet spot. The other party slowly exclaimed as if savoring a dish. Thinking about how many tigers in the city will now rush to you knowing you're a gourmet spot, it's such a waste. It's a taste I wanted to enjoy all by myself. I was doing my best to contain my anger. The golden heaven. I finally understood the meaning behind the rule that everything revolves around bargaining here. Spewing more anger would only lead to more loss for me. But, that's how it is. The hooded man laughed, putting his hood back on, and turned his back with an angle that seemed to hoard all the coolness in the world. To monopolize something so precious. I am too noble of a being for that. Adieu. Like a gunman exiting a Western movie. And something in my mind just snapped. I swear, if seeing that didn't make your blood boil, you weren't human but a walking corpse. You are even more dissatisfied with this trade. The other party gains even more satisfaction from this trade. You have suffered yet another loss. Damn it. The eye living in the labyrinth comments that the other party considers you the biggest sucker in the universe. Shut it. Crits. Goddess of protection looks at you with very pitiful eyes. Where are your eyes, huh? Aren't you a sword? A music box only for you remains silent, just looking at you with a compassionate heart. Even you, fox. Poo ha 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 ha. Poo hoo haka kyuk kyuk. I'm dying. I'm dead. Kim Zombie, this kid's gonna kill the Sword Emperor. Oh my, folks. The Sword Emperor who conquered up to the 99th floor is about to die because of this bastard. Let's just not talk. No. Please stop talking. Could you please? Please. That young man is a sucker. Whisper whisper. Heard he's an amazing gourmet spot? Murmur murmur. It wasn't just the constellations looking at me. Street vendors were openly staring, whispering amongst themselves. To describe their gaze, it was like that of a panda cub that hasn't eaten for 3 days suddenly spotting a bamboo leaf. How do I know what a panda cub's gaze looks like? Well, could you just leave me alone for a bit? Hey, there, young man, young mon. Remember me? I'm the one who sold you the apple orange earlier. Young man, let's make a deal just one more time. Haven't we already established a solid trust between seller and buyer? Try this sweet potato grape wine. Not more, not less, just take one sip. I'll keep pouring you sweet potato grape wine until you can't take any more, introducing you to a whole new world. Duck Duck Pig Barbecue. The vendors swarmed in. Their eyes gleamed eagerly. It was like waves crashing against the shore, relentless, with the second and third waves following, creating a terribly frustrating situation where the only option seemed to be getting worn down. Just one bite. A delicacy. Duck Duck Pig. Give it a try. What more could I possibly do in this situation? Okay. Time to run. The delicacy is escaping. I injected aura into my soles and took off using lightness skill, clutching my stomach with my left hand. An almost insane hunger panged at my stomach, prodding it relentlessly. Chase him. Catch him. How often do we get a sucker like this, and you think we'd let him go? Consequently, I had no choice but to run, twisting my body and bending at the waist. If my master were to see me now, she'd probably cry tears of blood, thinking, I've never seen such a pathetic display of lightness skill. I'm so hungry. So hungry. Of course, I managed to escape. No matter how hungry I was, I hadn't fallen so low that I couldn't escape from a pack of enraged pandas. In a dark alley. I'm so hungry. What kind of insane hunger is this? I staggered along, recreating the opening scene of a classic film. I was like a poor kid wandering the alleyways. The problem was that at least that kid had trash bins to rummage through for food, but here, there was nothing of the sort. What would have happened if I hadn't learned the sword of starvation from the infernal heaven's demonic art? Would I have gone mad by now? The level of hunger that no ordinary hunter could endure tortured me. Seriously, if it wasn't for me, I would have flipped my eyes, turned my stomach inside out, fallen to the ground, and then danced the maggot dance long ago. Gongja. That's when Bei Hurayong spoke to me. Yes. I have something I really want to say to you. I looked at Bei Hurayong with difficulty. Bei Hurayong looked down at me with a seriously earnest expression, as if he was about to impart something incredibly important. And then Bei Hurayong said, Adieu. Right. Okay. So that's how it is. Understood. I slowly straightened my hunched back and stood up straight. The severe hunger made the scenery before my eyes flicker in monochrome, but for some reason, my mind was frighteningly clear. If the world treats me this way, then I have no choice. Huh? What? What's the delicacy mumbling about? You're all dead. Come to think of it, the reason my mind felt so clear was probably because my fuse had blown. When a blackout occurs, everything naturally becomes quiet. Bei Hurayong's expression changed upon seeing my face. Zombie? Hey, Kim Gongja SSI?
Hello.
Can you hear me? Yes. I can hear you perfectly well, like a 1080p HD video. Sword Emperor Nim. Do you have something you want to say to me? Bei Hurayong slowly backed away. I just said adieu. I did nothing wrong. Goddess of Protection claims she did absolutely nothing wrong. A music box only for you reminds that it was innocent from the start. The eye living in the labyrinth argues that it merely spoke the truth. I drew the holy sword and gripped it tightly in my right hand. Why are you all acting like that? I'm not angry. I just had this thought. Shouldn't one not play with a person's hunger? Because that's rude. It's not polite. This city really lacks manners. I smiled brightly. Let's give some lesson in etiquette before we leave. Golden heaven, blonde, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's start with sorting out this port city. Chapter 346, Full Moon Voyage, 3. I carried out operation. Hello, brother. Do you by any chance know the way? You might think this is nonsense, but any nonsense in the world can make sense if you say it yourself. And the person who just said this was none other than me, so it could be said that it made perfect sense. What kind of nonsense is this all of a sudden? Of course, the merchant, who was suddenly asked if he knew the way, frowned. In the port city, a fairly large general goods store. Even now, in broad daylight, there were quite a few customers. There was even a regular customer playing chess with the owner. In a shop filled with various antiques, the street vendor put down his chess piece and swiftly lifted his monocle. I don't deal with nonsense. A perfectly healthy young man engaging in such lowly tricks. There's nothing for you to scavenge here, so scram. Shoo. In my opinion, elder brother, you seem like someone who should know the way. Have you ever heard of a deity called the Eye living in the labyrinth? It's as if dogs were meowing and cats were barking. I was curious what that meant, but the curiosity I wanted to address right now was elsewhere. Hey! I tapped the thread snake wrapped around my wrist. The thread snake cried out sadly, "Keek." Reveal a secret between the merchant in front of me and the regular customer. Anything will do. As long as it's a fatal secret. The Eye living in the labyrinth mourns that it, being one of the 12 zodiac gods, doesn't know how it has fallen so low. Shall we make a sad life even sadder? The Eye living in the labyrinth manifests its power. While the thread snake was fulfilling its role, the street vendor clicked his tongue and turned his gaze back to the chessboard. However, the regular customer he was facing was different. After examining my face carefully, he tilted his head in confusion. This guy, on closer look, seems like that hot piece at the dock everyone was talking about. Hot piece? What hot piece are you talking about? You've been cooped up in your store so you wouldn't know, but it was quite the commotion. A new young man, not only a total pushover but also supposedly having a very tasty soul? So, everyone was out to skin him alive. That skinny kid? Really? Indeed, they said it was absolutely delicious. The eyes of the street vendor and the regular customer were filled with greed as they looked at me. Their gaze scanning me from head to toe was like a tiger eyeing a pig. Expose. The Eye living in the labyrinth reveals a secret to you. Who exactly was the tiger would have to be seen. Plus. Name, Servatos Xenia Milia. Previous world, Tower of No Name. Afterlife world, Port City Levanta, Golden World. Secret, owner of the general goods store. The regular customer playing chess with him actually has a boil on his buttock, caused by the tea that Servatos keeps recommending. Anyone who drinks this tea gets a boil on their left buttock. The regular customer always has to buy medicine for it, and the person selling that medicine is also Servatos. Mental state, even if I lose at chess, I've won in trade, thus it's a technique of losing the battle but winning the war. I shudder at my own genius. Plus. I smiled broadly. And then I said to the regular customer. The reason you have a boil on your left buttock is because of the tea you're currently drinking. This gentleman is deliberately playing chess and recommending tea to you, trying to exploit you. Servadosis. The regular customer suddenly stood up and grabbed the street vendor by the collar. I knew something was off. Why would a mere antique store owner keep procuring but treatment medicine? It was your plot all along. Wait, just a moment. It's a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, I tell you. Do I look like the kind of person to do that to you? Are you saying you trust some unknown hot spot that popped up out of nowhere more than a friend you've known for decades? Of course. Everyone who owns a store in Levanta is a swindler. Even if the whole world is full of swindlers, I alone would be a faithful friend. A commotion broke out in the store. Customers browsing the displays looked over, wondering what was going on. But this was just the beginning. Thread snake. I pointed at another customer. Next. Expose. The eye living in the labyrinth reveals a secret to you. Letters wriggled before my eyes. Plus. Name, sackspinner William Tell. Previous world, Ring World. Afterlife World, Port City Levanta, Golden World. Secret, a regular customer of the general store. This person has long known that the store owner has been giving him tea laced with poison. Sackspinner turned it into a sort of trade, having an acquaintance steal items from the store whenever he drank the tea. Right now, if you look behind, a red-haired man in the left direction is secretly stealing an antique. Mental state, sorry, friend. Someday you'll realize for yourself the truth that there's always a bigger fish. I'm just holding back my tears. Plus. In fact, this person knew you were up to something and went one step further by engaging in a cat's trick. If you look behind you now, to the left, there's a red-haired man who has been stealing antiques every time. Sackspinner. The store owner sprang up and grabbed the regular by the collar. I wondered why every time you came around, something always seemed to be missing. You thieving bastard. And you have the nerve to accuse me after poisoning the tea. And so, a real mess began in the store, but I'm sorry to say it was far from over. I pointed out each customer in the store, one by one. This person pretends to cooperate with you but is actually documenting all your illegal transactions and waiting for the right moment to report you. Dante Leg. The reason you got food poisoning from eating double pork steak the day before yesterday is actually because of the pepper this person gifted you. This person soaks the pepper in his saliva, dries it, and then gifts it to people, laughing at them for happily accepting his saliva pepper as a free gift, thinking, fools, enjoying the pepper I've laced with my saliva, and profits from the transaction. Manduke Churr. The toilet paper in this store's bathroom is actually coated with a hemorrhoid-inducing agent. Every time you use the bathroom, this person derives a secret satisfaction. Cervadosis. Thus, a store in the port city exploded, but of course, there was still plenty of time left for revenge. Expose. 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 I kindly revealed secrets as I visited stores in the streets, one after another, in order. Soon, screams erupted, collars were torn, and shouts and yells beautifully decorated the port town. Kill that swindler. And you've swindled me too. Ever done business? The one who gets deceived is the bad one. Let's see you get beaten up by a bad guy. Save me. Somebody save
Me.
I hummed a tune as I set fire to the districts of the city. Not a physical fire, but a fire of the heart. The residents of the Golden World were fundamentally swindlers and thieves. There seemed to be no end to the secrets that flowed like honey to be revealed. Expose. 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 It took less than half a day before those who had chased me, calling me a hot piece, were kneeling, begging for mercy. Please, I beg of you. Before long, those who had their secrets revealed began to prostrate themselves before me. In the square, centered around the fountain, lay hundreds of people prostrate. At the very front, the mayor of the port city had his forehead firmly pressed to the ground. Incidentally, he had been thoroughly beaten by the townspeople after the revelation that he had been tampering with taxes. It had been a while since the mayor's face had transitioned from flesh-colored to a bruised hue. The mayor was a fashionista in his own right. He had a unique sense of color. Truly a trendsetter in fashion. We humbly and fully acknowledge that we were fools compared to you. However, the mayor didn't seem to have any intention of changing his current occupation to that of a fashionista. He pleaded pitifully, tears wetting the stone ground. We will bow our heads and admit defeat, hoping you will not starve but to feel satiated for the next 100 years, taking this opportunity. So please, I beg of you, could you please just leave our city, play God? I solemnly nodded my head like a benevolent conquering monarch. I grant you permission. At that, the citizens of the port gathered and prostrated themselves deeply. Your grace is boundless. The deal is concluded. The deal is concluded. The deal is concluded. The deal is concluded. Hundreds of messages popped up in succession. I graciously decided to leave the city, and they were to send me off. Was this not a splendid deal? The other parties are very dissatisfied with this deal. You are very satisfied with this deal. You alone have gained tremendous benefits. Amidst the endless wave of messages, I raised my right hand. Hundreds of shoulders twitched simultaneously. Don't worry. I will indeed keep my promise and leave. But I'm curious about something. What might that be? I understand that this isn't the only city here. As I intend to visit the next city, provide me with a map. The mayor convulsed. Thanks to the thread snake revealing information, I could clearly see what the mayor was thinking. He realized my intention to not only wreak havoc here but to turn every city in this world to ashes, and he shuddered at the catastrophe. Of course. Please wait a moment, play God. I will bring it to you immediately. Of course, it was a thrill of joy. One cannot simply doom themselves alone, right? There was no reason not to welcome someone who volunteered to trample upon the other cities of this world themselves. The mayor mobilized all the servants of the mansion to gather every map they could find. We have brought only the newest and most accurate maps available in this city, hoping that they will suffice for you, play God. Not bad. May glory accompany you on your journey. Long live. Long live the plague god. May you, the monarch who will set this world ablaze, traverse the world and raise the average temperature of the entire world. The citizens followed, shouting, "Long live! Long live!" Tears streamed down their faces, a look of radiant glory, a voice sending off a savior, specifically, a desperate claim that now, not only us would be stuck in the gutter, which was indeed fortunate. Humph. I secured the map under my arm and turned away. Flutter. My long coat danced, kicking up a cloud of dust, like a gunman exiting a Western movie. And then, loud enough for the hundreds of citizens to hear, I flicked my fingers as if tipping an unworn hat. Adieu. At that moment, messages exploded. The other party is even more dissatisfied with this deal. The other party is even more dissatisfied with this deal. The other party is even more dissatisfied with this deal. The other party is even more dissatisfied with this deal. The other party is even more dissatisfied with this deal. A brilliant sense of satiation drenched my stomach. It was a truly magnificent and breathtaking scene. The satisfaction of the finest steak melting away in my mouth filled my belly, akin to the pleasure of its juices flowing within me. The sky had turned red just in time, as if it were the juices running in my mouth. Poor things. Behu Ryong looked at the citizens with a pitiful expression. Why did they have to mess with such a calamity of this world? I left the city behind and leisurely walked through the wilderness. Spreading out the map, I found the world to be vast and the seas even vaster. It was a world mostly made up of sea. But what difficulty would that pose? It had been a long time since I had mastered the ability to walk on water, so the sea could hardly stand in my way. Wait for me. This world will meet its end by my hands. The cat that bit a gold coin urgently requests a conversation. At that moment, a constellation sent me a message. The cat that bit a gold coin. It was the constellation that ruled over this world, the golden heaven. The cat that bit a gold coin earnestly asks the following. What the hell is wrong with you? No. The only thing I truly want to burn is this rotten world, that's all. Chapter 347, Full Moon Voyage, 4. The cat that bit a gold coin makes a proposal to you. The constellation spoke to me, meanwhile also sharing the events that had unfolded behind the scenes. What events, you ask? The judge, who might still be observing from the 70th floor lobby right now, regarding the count. The circumstances shared by the constellation were quite astonishing. The cat that bit a gold coin earnestly requests you and your judge to somewhat agree to the deal. It turns out, this count fellow had been bargaining with the constellation. Just like Crusader received skills from the snake god, the count obtained her skills from the merchant god. And it so happens that this merchant god, ruling over the 72nd floor, the golden heaven, is the constellation known as the cat that bit a gold coin. Well, that makes sense. I easily accepted this. The skills possessed by the count and the laws of the golden heaven had too many similarities to be a coincidence. The count can almost summon any item through bargaining with skills. The price is up to the trader. Moreover, when she purchased the world peace item, a message saying, the world was originally peaceful, popped up. In short, skills that infuriate the count. The count is greatly dissatisfied, and conversely, the merchant god is pleased. Doesn't this scenario seem familiar? Teasing and infuriating like this is actually the essence of the skill. In other words, it seems like the count has a lot of anger accumulated towards you. The cat that bit a gold coin pleads for you to somehow do something. The count has been using the merchant god's skills for a long, very long time. She must have been ridiculed and provoked to no end. Just like when I arrived at the port city of Levant and was humiliated, no. She must have been enduring similar mistreatment for years. In essence, the count's current psychological state was not, oh, I am so grateful to whoever you are for bestowing such skills upon me. Far from it, actually. Instead, it was closer to, I didn't know where you lived until now, but finding out has been great. In simple terms, she had finally met her sworn enemy. The cat that bit a gold coin cries, saying the judge is intent on extracting every last drop of broth from its bones. Of course, the count had no intention of letting such an opportunity slip away. First, the count looked for a way to contact the merchant god. Thanks to her skills, she could purchase anything she wanted. Upon searching, she found an item in the product list named, Phone Call with the Merchant God. Bingo! There were an almost infinite number of items, so without the search function, it would have been impossible to find. Oh, and for your information, Product Search is also a paid item. It's a subscription-based must-have item. You can guess what kind of rip-offs the count has been subjected to over the years. Greetings. The count made the call after spending a considerable amount. Yes, this is the Smiling Cat's shop, ready to shove a gold coin into your mouth. Who might this be? I am a merchant called the Count from the Lion World. I've risen to success from a young age with a skill I obtained, but now it seems like you are the creator of this skill. The Count guessed the situation the moment she was summoned as a judge. And at the very moment of my foolishness, she understood everything. Her skill, the laws of the golden heaven, the similarities between them, etc. And so, she realized that her skill originated from the master of the golden heaven. Is that so? What is the name of the skill? It's called Cat's Everything Shop.
Ah.
Right. That's a skill we created and distributed. Her realization was correct. The customer who has called us now is. Oh my, look at the points accumulated. You're an incredibly valued customer. You've always used the services of the Smiling Cat's shop. Are you calling to express your gratitude for our service? Oh. Of course. I feel tremendous gratitude towards you. No need to mention it. By the way, the phone call item you are currently using is charged by the minute. The first minute is free. After that, a separate call charge applies per minute. Please understand. The Count warned leisurely. The Death King has gone to the world you rule. What? I am the judge determining whether the Death King passes or fails. In other words, whether Death King stays forever wandering in your world or not is entirely up to me. Excuse me, but could you please clarify? Oh, don't worry. You'll understand soon. Click. The Count ended the call without a hint of hesitation. At this point, I was wandering the alleys. Darkly. Writhing in desperate hunger. Soon, I entered an antique shop and did what I could. The Count was lying on a sofa, munching on potato chips. Around that time, a phone appeared out of nowhere and rang, traying. It's the Count. Yes, customer. We have verified the information you provided, and we are truly grateful that you informed us in advance before we contacted you. Well, I paid for it.
Ah.
Customer. We have decided to refund the cost incurred for purchasing the phone call item. We will also cover any additional charges. We sincerely apologize for not providing preemptive consideration. In a short time, the merchant god's tone became considerably more polite. So, as I was saying, I presume the reason you called is because you wish to negotiate about the Death King stage clearance, right? It's good that we're moving quickly. What would you like in return? It's getting faster, but it's still not the tempo I want. What? Let's talk again later. The Count ended the call. At this point, I was engulfing the antique shop and sweeping through the streets. My elegant demeanor was akin to the Pied Piper leading a horde of tiny mice, marching triumphantly. The difference from the Pied Piper was that these mice were fighting amongst themselves, and instead of jumping into a river, they were requesting knockout punches from each other. And this knockout punch quickly became a trend spreading rapidly across the city. Traying. Count speaking. If you have been upset or if we have inadvertently been rude during your use of our shop, I sincerely apologize, customer. The representative's voice was urgent. We are currently trying to find the responsible person as quickly as possible. The staff member in charge of your case will be immediately reassigned, and if there's anything else you desire, we will fulfill it right away. That's fine. Truly quick action. Potato chips crumbled sweetly in the Count's mouth. But it's still not at my tempo. Click. The trend of knockout punches that began to spread throughout the city reached its climax at the mayor's residence. The guards protecting the residence caused chaos among themselves after it was exposed that they were stealing from their own king, and the mayor, rushing out in a hurry to see what was happening, was smacked on the back of the head by his partner. Out of respect for the mayor couple's honor, I will not disclose what secret I revealed. Traying. The phone rang frantically. It's the Count speaking. We were wrong. We apologize. Please forgive us. Now we're getting somewhere. Right now, every single one of us at the shop is bowing our heads. I am calling you all prostrating, customer. If you doubt us, we will immediately connect a video call. Without anyone asking for it, the phone call was upgraded to a video call. In the hologram that appeared before the Count's eyes, indeed, dozens of cats were actually prostrating themselves. Indeed, even the Count was left speechless for 0.5 seconds by this cute yet horrifying scene. Yes. The merchant god was indeed a cat. Not just one cat but dozens. Dozens of cats running a shop was precisely the smiling cat's shop, and they were the cat that bit a gold coin. However, the Count was not generous enough to forget what these cute appearances had done just because of their looks. The life she had been subjected to by this skill was too much like 99.9% cocoa chocolate. A spectacular sight. A true spectacle. Do keep your heads down. Naya. 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 By now, you must have realized that this friend is crazy. If dog means more and pear means even more, it's fair to call him a double crazy dog. You should know that whether this double crazy dog will be released into the golden heaven forever or not depends on my mood. At this timing, the mayor and all residents of the port city were bowing their heads in the square. The cats were prostrating themselves. It was indeed a beautiful sight that everyone, regardless of divine or mortal status, was bowing their heads. I assure you, if this friend roams your world for just a fortnight, you really wouldn't want to know what kind of situations will arise. But I do want to know. Naya. Naya. Please, customer, mercy. The trend of knockout punches that began to spread throughout the city reached its climax at the mayor's residence. The guards protecting the residents caused chaos among themselves after it was exposed that they were stealing from their own king, and the mayor, rushing out in a hurry to see what was happening, was smacked on the back of the head by his partner. Out of respect for the mayor couple's honor, I will not disclose what secret I revealed. Traying. The phone rang frantically. It's the Count speaking. We were wrong. We apologize. Please forgive us. Now we're getting somewhere. Right now, every single one of us at the shop is bowing our heads. I am calling you all prostrating, customer. If you doubt us, we will immediately connect a video call. Without anyone asking for it, the phone call was upgraded to a video call. In the hologram that appeared before the Count's eyes, indeed, dozens of cats were actually prostrating themselves. Indeed, even the Count was left speechless for 0.5 seconds by this cute yet horrifying scene. Yes. The merchant god was indeed a cat. Not just one cat but dozens. Dozens of cats running a shop was precisely the smiling cat's shop, and they were the cat that bit a gold coin. However, the Count was not generous enough to forget what these cute appearances had done just because of their looks. The life she had been subjected to by this skill was too much like 99.9% cocoa chocolate. A spectacular sight. A true spectacle. Do keep your heads down. Naya. 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 By now, you must have realized that this friend is crazy. If dog means more and pear means even more, it's fair to call him a double crazy dog. You should know that whether this double crazy dog will be released into the golden heaven forever or not depends on my mood. At this timing, the mayor and all residents of the port city were bowing their heads in the square. The cats were prostrating themselves. It was indeed a beautiful sight that everyone, regardless of divine or mortal status, was bowing their heads. I assure you, if this friend roams your world for just a fortnight, you really wouldn't want to know what kind of situations will arise. But I do want to know. Naya. Naya. Please, customer, mercy. Not just for my personal greed but for the benefit of the entire tower, I hope you understand the decision I've made. I believe there's no need to explicitly explain the benefits our tower will gain by subjugating the smiling cat's shop. Oh dear. You might want to just cause some trouble and feel refreshed, but I see things a bit differently. I want to give a thorough lesson this time. Of course, as my friend, I trust you'll show deep interest and affection for my personal vendetta as well. Well, honestly, it doesn't matter if you have no interest or affection. After all, who else but me will decide whether you rot there forever? If you don't want to rot, cooperate. This cat. If you're going to cooperate anyway, might as well do it enthusiastically. Isn't that your specialty? I've seen the crazy things you've done in the port city. But I'm confident that your craziness can cross rivers and oceans, making its mark on the world. I hope you continue doing what you've been doing until I achieve a satisfactory negotiation. In the hologram beyond the hologram, the cats were prostrating themselves. The colorful cats trembled in fear. Didn't I say? You're a good friend. The Count smiled nonchalantly. Let's work to ensure that our friendship becomes a model of excellence, passed down through history for half a millennium. The cats wailed, Niag, in despair. Chapter 348, Full Moon Voyage, 5. So, what did I end up doing? Well, a friend told me to just keep doing what I've been doing. After all, there's no reason not to heed a friend's request if it's for the sake of friendship. To be more specific about what I'm doing, we're admitting our defeat. I've been traveling around the world, making the merchants of various cities kneel. Here, we offer tributes as a token of homage. Please look upon our city with mercy. 100 citizens propose to trade with me at once. The trade items? Nothing much. I won't visit their city for the next 6 months, and in return, the citizens offer a big bow. The port city of Badarin acknowledges your victory over them. With this, you have become a merchant who has made 6 cities kneel. The citizens of the city are very dissatisfied with this trade. You are very satisfied with this trade. Once again, you alone have reaped tremendous benefits. The Gold Heaven world is falling into ruin because of me, an irregular. It's like a kind of famine. The cities I arrive at invariably have their secrets exposed. Unable to bear it, the citizens surrender unconditionally, leading to dire hunger. In short, a year of calamity befalls the city. The cat that bit a gold coin screams for it all to stop. Suddenly becoming a walking famine, the cat that bit a gold coin was pushed further into a corner. Already, 6 port cities had fallen. Regrettably, there was no one who could stop me. Bounty hunters skilled in combat came at me in droves once. A group of 7 mercenaries all donned tiger skin cloaks. The mid-sized group, those who can fight, proposes a trade. 1. For the next 30 minutes, both parties agree to exchange physical blows. 2. After 30 minutes, a total settlement will be conducted. 3. At the time of settlement, the amount of physical damage received from the opponent will be considered a loss. 4. The amount of physical damage dealt to the opponent will be considered a gain. This is the Gold Heaven world. Even for a brawl, mutual consent is needed, along with a contract to define the terms. The result? Do I even need to say? I mean, beyond the hologram, Merchant God was still streaming tears while the Count was nonchalantly crunching on potato chips. Could there be a clearer distinction between victory and defeat? The 6th city has also fallen smoothly. It's a cause for celebration. Meow. Moo. How many cities are left in that world now? 7? 6? Even if 600 were left, it's only a matter of time. For your information, the conversation happening now was not a recording but a live feed. Every time I swept through a city, the Count would strike a deal with the Merchant God and extort something from them. This live conversation was also a spoils of plunder. Our tower's economic manager is indeed meticulous. It's time to admit to a complete defeat. No matter how much you resist from here, it will only ruin your heaven. For now, Death King generously accepts a big bow and retreats, but who knows what will happen in the future. What wrong have we done to you? The cats exploded in indignation. We were just quietly continuing with our small businesses. Meow. This is the tyranny and violence of a mighty constellation. We will not stand for this. Meow. We will formally protest. What wrong did you do? For starters, if I use my skill more than a certain number of times in a day, I get penalized with cat ears sprouting on my head. What's the problem with that? Cat ears. Aren't they cute? Additionally, there's also a penalty where using the universal shop beyond a certain limit causes a cat tail to grow, isn't that so? The cat tail boasts a perfect curve both anatomically and evolutionarily. The fact that we gave even insignificant human races a chance to taste such a divine creation deserves gratitude, not disdain. When I purchased the item named World Peace, didn't it end up screwing me over? It's quite laughable that a grown adult seriously bought a product named World Peace. I included that phrase with the intention of teaching you a lesson to mature a bit. It wasn't meant to be taken so seriously. Meow. Isn't that also an experience and a lesson? The cats vigorously waved their arms in agreement. Indeed. That's a correct statement, meow. Whether account or unemployed, what kind of customer is this? It's not even funny. We are the real masters here. Be grateful. Hurry and express your gratitude for our existence. Bow your head and thank us for granting you skills and for imposing penalties on you. Bow down. Offer a sincere, deep bow. Even cats have their pride. Meow. 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 The count nodded deeply. Now, I believe you fully understand why I'm determined to deal with these double trouble felines, Kim Gongja. My friend. You seem to have a lot of pent-up frustration. It was already night. After conquering the 7th city, I unfolded the map. Following Count's plan to subjugate dozens, hundreds of cities seemed easy. It would just take time, not a difficult feat. However, it's strange. From beyond the hologram, Count tilted her head in confusion. What is strange? The cat that bit a gold coin. I mean, the merchant god is nowhere to be seen. Even though it seems like I'm moving around, I've been heading to major cities, you know? The 7th city I just conquered, and the 6th port, was the most prosperous city in this world. In the Gold Heaven world, there are only port cities. Whether it was deliberately designed this way to facilitate trade, or because the majority of the world is water. Seas. Clusters of islands are gathered, and villages and cities are established along the coastlines. There's no such thing as inland. There are mountains, but no villages are placed on them. Without exception, all places where people live are adjacent to the sea. I thought I would see the merchant god in the largest city. Sea? What do you mean by sea? I mean, literally visible to the eyes. The owner of the last stage was a tree. A world tree that could cover an entire city and then some. If it's heaven, I thought it would make sense for the god to be visible anywhere. The Count furrowed her brows, as if the idea was novel to her, and it was clear from the space between her eyebrows that she had never thought about it that way before, and probably never would. That's an interesting perspective. Yes, well. So, I thought the merchant god's main residence would be in the largest city. But no matter how much I search, it's not there. It's strange, really. Perhaps the last stage was an exception? each god to their own. These ones might have built their hideout far away, giggling while watching humans destroy each other. Could that be the case? Absolutely, no doubt about it. I glanced at the hologram. What are you staring at? The cats flinched. Don't think that looking at us like that will scare us. We're not afraid of something like you, meow. Really? You'll regret not negotiating with us when we are bowing and being submissive. You should have just accepted a good deal and ended it there. That ship has already capsized. There's no soup left. No soup. No soup. No soup. But really, how about that chant? Even though they look like cats on the outside, they are still constellations. A powerful constellation that governs the 70th floor region. I checked to see if the cats were unable to manage their expressions and gave away their feelings, but as expected, there was no such fundamental mistake. I looked around carefully. The waves lapped gently at the dockside. Come to think of it, when I first arrived at this stage, I was at the dockside as well. Although, at that time, I turned my gaze towards the streets rather than the sea. Every village is a port. Could there be a clue hidden in that fact? The cat that bit a gold coin. The cat that bit a gold coin, huh? Gold coin. Lost in thought, I wandered the beach when suddenly, the moon rising in the night sky caught my eye. It was a full moon. A thought crossed my mind. Carefully managing not to let my emotions show on my face, I casually spoke to the Count. Nisha. It's the first time you're calling me by my real name. Well, you've been calling Patricia by her real name for a while now. It's quite late, to be honest. With this, you're the only person who calls both Patricia and me by our real names. Normally, those who are close to me despise Patricia, and those who are close to Patricia despise me, but you're quite unique. It's a great honor. Anyway, Nisha. You're watching me like watching a movie over there. Is it possible to do a rewind? Well, I suppose it should be possible. The Count turned her head and spoke. Murmurs. From my angle, someone was conversing in a blind spot to the hologram, well, obviously consulting with the Wand of Ages. Soon after, the Count turned back to me. It's possible. Then, although it might be a bit troublesome, could you please check the night sky from last night, the night before, and the nights 3 and 4 days ago? There's something I want to confirm. Sounds more productive than crunching on potato chips. Sure. The Count waved her fan, her eyes scanning the void. Though invisible to me, images from the past few days were now visible to the Count. Are you watching? I have them all displayed. Please check the moon. A flinch. The cats turned to look at me in unison. But it was too late. No longer needing to manage my expression, I immediately asked. Is there any change in the shape of the moon? By any chance, has it been a full moon continuously without any changes? Slowly, the Count nodded. Correct. Not a single movement. A clear full moon. Just as I thought. Meow. Now that I think about it, negotiating doesn't seem like a bad idea. Surely, there must be conditions even for an unconditional surrender, right? Customer. We will seriously engage in surrender negotiations from now on. The cats started to panic. The Count, clueless about the situation, tilted her head in confusion. However, I, paying no attention to that, enhanced my vision. Aura infusion. With sight beyond human limits, I gazed up at the full moon. Nothing there. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything on the surface of the moon. No, in fact, it wasn't even a real moon. Unlike Earth's moon, this moon had a spotless surface. It wasn't even spherical but flat. It was merely something that took the shape of a moon. That place is not the hideout. The cats are not there. Then I quickly scanned my surroundings. According to my reasoning, 1. Heaven has a constellation that governs it. 2. Souls can always feel and see that constellation, anytime and anywhere. 3. The souls here invariably live adjacent to the sea. 4. Therefore, the constellation might reside in the sea. If the sea itself is the constellation, all problems would be solved. However, the constellation of the 73rd floor is cat. Not sea. Nor is it any sea-related creature. Could it be living in the deep sea? Building a base in the deep sea, or perhaps moving around in a submarine? That could be possible. But in that case, the souls couldn't always feel or observe the constellation. A god that can be easily seen by simply looking out at the sea. The waves crashed against the sea. Not the deep sea, nor somewhere in the open sea. The dark night sea. In the middle of the pitch-black water surface, brightly reflected. Just something that anyone in a seaside village, where people live, can easily see. The full moon. The moon in the night sky was reflecting white. Like a round gold coin. Indeed. I smiled. I've found it. And without hesitation, I stepped towards the sea. Splash, ripples formed. The ripples did not grow more intense but remained gentle. Splash. Splash. I ran towards the spot where the full moon reflected on the water's surface. Naya. The cats chorused in alarm. No. No. Wait, let's make a deal. Let's have a trade. Customer. Count. VIP guest. We will offer a 50% discount on all items forevermore. Isn't that enough? Could you please accept our surrender? 60%. 70%. 80%. We will give a discount of up to 90%, so please stop your friend. Surprisingly, when I dived towards the surface where the gold coin reflected, what welcomed my face and body wasn't the cold seawater. I only felt the touch of water momentarily on the surface. Soon after, a distinctly different gravity from that of water caught me. He's here ye, Naya. I landed, thud, on solid ground. There was no underwater palace like in the tales. The moon reflected on the water was a kind of portal, a gate. Passing through the moon on the water's surface was directly entering the dwelling ruled by the merchant god. The gold coin was the full moon, and the cat that swallowed a gold coin was indeed the cat living in the full moon. Emergency. Emergency. What do we do? Don't be scared, meow. What's the difference between dying once or twice? It's all over now. Cats gathered in a stark white space, huddling closely together, shivering and trembling. The sight of the colorfully marked cats gathering and quivering together was, well, unexpectedly touching. I smiled warmly. After all, I had come as the nutcase representative of our tower. Greetings, brethren. And there's a certain elegance that only a nutcase should possess when dealing with other nutcases. Do you perhaps know the way? Chapter 349, Full Moon Voyage, 6. 6. The cat's response to my question about whether they knew the way was simple. The cats, being merchants, trembled but without a moment's hesitation, they prostrated themselves neatly. We surrender, meow. They truly knew their place. However, if we completely fall into ruin, it won't just be one or two beings that end up on the streets. We're not just struggling for our own survival, but for all the followers residing in every world and the citizens of this world, so please have mercy on us. Please have mercy on us. 24 cats begged for forgiveness in unison. The sight of the cats of various colors bowing their heads together had something about it that tugged at the heartstrings. But my heart was too tainted to live by heartstrings alone. Is what you're saying true, serpent? The I living in the labyrinth summarizes their true intentions in a single line and exposes them. As the serpent hissed, characters appeared before my eyes. Plus. Psychological state, followers and citizens be damned, we're about to die here, what do we care? Plus. I knew it would be something like this. I clicked my tongue in disapproval. You guys really are consistently despicable. Meow. Why is a damned snake submitting to a mere human? Because of this thing, we can't scam or bargain. This is an outrageous abuse of power, it shouldn't be allowed. The cats were outraged. It seemed that being a constellation that primarily deals in scams, they were naturally at odds with Hishmith Crits. Having been called a wretched snake, Hishmith Crits, perhaps angered, raised its head and screeched. The cats were startled and jumped around in panic. Meow. So scary. Terrifying. Look at that horrifying green. It's a color and shape that should not be allowed in this universe. Its mere existence is an insult to all creation, a truly disgraceful and offensive creature. Screech. Moo. Spare us. Spare us. The green alien creature is trying to eat us. Help. Help dash. This is a total mess. Well, to be precise, it's a cat mess. Since a cat mess is too long, let's shorten it to a niang mess. Isn't that cute? My friend seems to have fallen into another strange thought. Proceed with the negotiation. The Count intervened just in time. Naturally, the Count was also watching the current scene live via hologram. What you want is unconditional surrender, but I don't intend to extort more than is right from you folks. Anyway, that place is a kind of heaven, and you are the managers of heaven, aren't you? It would be right to preserve your position. Meow. Then, perhaps. Are you seeking appropriate financial compensation or periodic tributes? No, what I want is only one thing, your utter humiliation. The Count demonstrated without regret the kind of character that made her the top tycoon of the tower. Let's shorten this to character flaw. See you, customer. I have no intention of ruining the economic structure of the Gold Heaven world. Nor do I plan to ruin other worlds. Why should the managers of heaven favor our tower alone? What I mean is, once again, I would just like to see you eat some humble pie. Yikes. The cats trembled at the Count's character flaw. Since they were the very ones who cultivated that personality, I felt no sympathy for them. Karma. Justice. Niang punch. Aren't all these words within my top 3 favorites? Come when I call you. Come and perform tricks right in front of me if I ask, and tear open a snack bag if commanded. Of course, you can never lie to me and must always speak the truth. And that's not all. If I ask you to meow, then meow you shall, and if I grow tired of your meowing and tell you to bark instead, then bark willingly you must. The cats shuddered. What kind of outrageous demand is this? For a cat born with a spine to stoop to making dog noises, it's the ultimate disgrace. That's right. Dogs are inferior beings that can't even stretch their backs. There are the principles of righteousness and the 5 moral tenets we must adhere to. We cannot stoop to using the language of dogs. So, these beings are constellations that delight in scamming and derive satisfaction from deceiving others, and they also happen to be speciesist cats that look down on dogs. At this point, I worry whether calling them cats might be an insult to the cats of our world. The Count quietly listened to the cat's protests and then ended all controversy with just 2 sentences. Don't like it? If so, just leave it to the Death King to expose all your secrets. From now on, we are your eternal dogs. 24 cats prostrated themselves towards the hologram. In fact, we have long admired the way of the dogs and have always wanted to bark instead of meowing. Bark, bark. This feels much more affectionate and fitting to the mouth. Having been mercifully granted the way of the bark and the teachings of the wolf by our customer, we feel as if we have finally escaped the barbaric customs and entrusted our bodies to the great path. Meower. Indeed. I'm not exactly sure what the indeed is for, but there seems to be no better word to describe the current situation. The cat that bit a gold coin surrenders. Afterwards, various minor squabbles continued between the Count and the merchants. I didn't pay much attention to them. It was the process of clarifying the minutiae in the surrender document without leaving room for misunderstanding, but well, I'm sure the Count would handle it just fine. What was important to me was what happened next. After more than 3 hours of discussion, a perfect surrender document was finally created, and the Count looked at me with a beaming smile. You've done well. Death King. It was nothing. Unlike the Count, who was all smiles, the cats were completely exhausted and lay sprawled on the floor. There was a demon among us. We might need to reconsider the level of service we provide to our customers. I wonder how thoroughly they were fleeced. I'm relieved anew that the Count is on our side. If the Count were an enemy, so would the Crusader, and not just the tower's economic structure but also its security forces would turn their blades against us. Game over. The specific assassination plans and the capital to carry them out are just a bonus. Truly vicious, so vicious. Thanks to you, I've fulfilled a wish I never thought possible in my lifetime. There's a saying about what good friends are for, but I clearly enjoy the luxury because of my friend. I enjoyed it too. But even enjoyable times must come to an end. The Count folded her fan and smiled. Now, come back. Death King. A message rang in my head. The one chosen as your judge grants you a pass. You have received the recognition of the judge. You can declare stage clear at any time. There was no reason to hesitate. I quietly declared stage clear in my mind, and accordingly, a yellow light enveloped me. The cat that bit a gold coin has surrendered to you. Hidden stage cleared. You will be transferred to the 70th floor. And then I opened my eyes. Welcome back. Upon opening my eyes, what greeted me was still the Count, lounging on the sofa. Slowly waving her fan, she spoke to me. I really wanted to say this to your face, Kim Gongja. Congratulations on clearing the stage. We had broken through the 72nd floor. 7. Just because the stage was completed, the Count didn't immediately leave. Perhaps because she knew that once she left here, her memories would be erased? It's the law of the tower that all memories related to the wand of the beginning, or in other words, the pillar, must be distorted. Perhaps for that reason, the Count was leisurely taking her time. After all, due to the matters of the merchant union, I'm in work mode 24/7. There's no such thing as rest for me. The Count said. Honestly, being here is almost like taking a free vacation, isn't it? Even the flow of time is different from Babylon, it's truly the best vacation spot. What's the point of resting here if our memories will just be erased anyway? Then we must play even harder before they get erased. The Count seemed sincere. Well, I was in no rush either. This was a chance to chat and get closer to the Count, which was fine by me. Really? And through our conversation, we came across quite the surprising fact. Did you know Patricia had an assassination plan in place? Of course. The Count said as if it was the most natural thing. Patricia and I have no secrets from each other. We don't blabber unnecessary things, but we never blur the line between what's necessary and what's not. Both of us have the intelligence and the promise to do so. The most important thing is the will to keep that promise. I trust Patricia's will. It was hard to find even a hint of doubt in the Count's expression. Frankly, I was bewildered. I'm not sure if I should be saying this, but Patricia probably also has a plan to assassinate Nisha. Well, obviously it's just a plan, but still? Of course. To take control of the entire tower on behalf of the 5 guild masters, Patricia would need to take down the merchant union first. And to do that, she'd have to start with me. Incredible. As I stammered, the Count chuckled as if she found it amusing. My reaction must have been entertaining to him. It's a story from years ago. I was the one who told Patricia first. If she ever decides to become a dictator, she should start by taking my head before killing anyone else. How can you carry out a purge without that resolve? There has to be a price to pay. It was a kind of restriction. Honestly, if it weren't for the shackles I put in place, Patricia would have exploded long ago. Patricia is a thinker and might seem indecisive at first glance, but once she decides something, she goes straight ahead no matter what. I was momentarily lost for words. My silence wasn't for any other reason. Something neither the Crusader nor the Count knew. Not even a thing of the past but a secret buried in the cycles of time. Only I remembered it. The Count was the first to die. The tragedy that unfolded on the 12th floor. When the Crusader first reached the 12th floor, she accepted the choice offered by the Devil King of Fall Rain. She conspired with the Devil King. And then we, the 5 guild masters, were hunted down by the Devil King one by one. When the Devil King swung his sword, a red beam burned everything in its path. The first thing destroyed was the imperial throne room of the Aegean Empire, and the person in that throne room was the Count. The Crusader, Patricia, killed the Count first. As promised. You look troubled. Is something bothering you? No. It's nothing. It's okay. It's merely an event that hasn't happened in this timeline. The Devil King of Fall Rain has become a ghost. I call the Crusader, Patricia. I can also call the Count, Nisha. And both of them call me Kim Gongja. Everything has changed. But now, looking back, many things that I once thought happened by chance are understood in a direction I never considered before. I've come to understand them. What is it, you might ask? It's a strange feeling. I realize anew that what we call coincidence is just a temporary name I've given to the inevitables I'm unaware of. The things I do, the things I want to do, might also be about changing numerous coincidences, one by one, bite by bite, sip by sip, into inevitables. Surely it must be so. I felt that this process of turning each and every other into myself is not in the least bit different. Sorry to interrupt your pleasant conversation. A voice interjected beside us. This isn't a holiday resort. The pillar with silver blades hidden in its eyes. The Wand of Ages, holding a long staff, watched over us. Death King. It's time to ascend to the 73rd floor. Yes. Another heaven was waiting for me.